So proof of personhood, or individuality, as I've called it, is a notoriously difficult problem in digital systems, particularly digital systems that are trustless, trust-free. It's hard to overestimate how difficult this problem is. Computers are singularly incapable of understanding what it is to be human, particularly when we boil things down to essentially maths, algorithmic logic. There is no mathematical definition of a human, and certainly isn't one that could work with our existing computers in a transparent, open, trust-free fashion. We can drop the Web3 element, of course, and say, well, we'll just pick a service provider to decide who is a human and who isn't. And maybe the service provider will be reasonably well architected, and they'll have a device that, checks everyone's fingerprint or hand metrics or retina and keep it on file and make sure there's no duplicates and so forth. But this is very much not what we want from a Web3 system. This falls into the same flawed by design pitfall that Web2 suffers from, that we specifically want to avoid with Web3. I mean, it's particularly bad when we talk about proof of personhood, because personhood is a very sort of sacred thing. Giving our personhood to a specific service provider is feels at least psychologically worse than giving my bank details, because at least money can be replaced, personhood cannot. The other thing to note about proof of personhood is that it is very different to proof of identity. Identity tells us apart from each other. Personhood tells us apart from a bot or an AI or a rock. There's an element of personhood that requires some degree of identity, because it's usually not simply that we want to recognize a person, but that we want to recognize a unique person within our scope. For example, a supermarket might want to sell only up to 6 loaves of bread per customer, because today bread is in shortage. That means that they need some form of identity so that they can recognize a unique customer and would know when they came back and tried to buy another 6 loaves of bread. But it doesn't mean that they need to know their name and address and social security number. Right? It just means that they need some vaguely anonymous, or let's say pseudonymous, identifier for them that need not be usable or useful outside of this very particular scope of this supermarket selling loaves of bread. And furthermore, the customer should have a credible expectation that this identifier isn't useful or usable beyond this scope, right? So it's a two-way street. And this is what we mean by individuality or proof of personhood, as opposed to identity. Identity, we look generally for persistent, broad-scoped identifiers that can tell one human apart from another and track them as they go around the world of use cases. That's not what we're trying to build here.